Hey everybody, this is Nicholas with Zenith Design Build. I'm joined here with Pernilla.
Hello.
In her master bathroom that we remodeled for her. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her experience and how it was working with her. And so first let's start off with how we got to meet each other. We talked about this very briefly, but how did you first find out about us?
It was the home and garden show, and my sister-in-law followed you on Instagram. So she was quick to say, "Oh, there's the cute guy from Zenith," and we ran over and got your card, and here you are.
And then so after that, it was, I don't know how long it was, but we first met and talked about what you wanted done.
Yes.
And then we talked about trying to work it around the skylight and kind of the existing conditions that you had. And then after that, I came back with a proposal and then a couple different designs.
Yes, like 6. It was great.
Yeah. And then you chose this particular design because it had a bigger shower, I believe.
Shower, and I really wanted to move the toilet room over because I felt like that was the least intrusive as far as construction, and that was the more fluid when you walk into the bathroom to have a toilet on that side.
Yeah, and so we after doing that, you had a little bit of time to decide, like, did you want to go with us or someone else, because you recently had your kitchen done too.
Yes.
And some other items. So why did you decide to go with Zenith versus anybody else?
Well, for one, the plethora of options as far as you guys taking the time to be dedicated to figuring out what the best use of space is in here, cost and quality. You guys do premium work.
Thank you. So once you decided to go with Zenith, to go with us, we went through the planning phase and the design phase. So how was your experience working with Jen Haywood with Texturious Designs and working with myself through this planning phase?
Well, Jen is fabulous.
Yeah.
I love Jen.
Yeah.
She made it really simple. I'm the kind of person that kind of has a big picture idea, and she really helped me focus down on exactly the colors that would work best and all that. And she was just great. And she very flexible, worked with my schedule, so that was great.
Yeah, she's super good at those details, and then also we really appreciate that she's a little bit more process driven than a lot of designers. So she helps out with the construction side too, and she was here checking on things.
Absolutely, as well. And guided, like, okay, no, I kind of know I want this, and then she would, like, she implemented doing the shower handle on this side instead of inside. So the little extra ideas that, as a non-designer, I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah. So do you think it was worthwhile to have a designer involved versus working with a contractor that you had to make everything yourself, pick everything out?
Yes, for a bathroom, for me, was for sure a benefit. Whereas my kitchen, I knew exactly what I wanted in there.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So then after the design phase, after the planning phase, we got into construction. So how was your experience going through the construction process?
Well, that was almost my favorite because I had a horrible experience in my kitchen, and I love the fact that we could plan everything, have everything ordered, and then start construction instead of you coming in here and ripping it out and me waiting 6 to 8 weeks for things to come in. And then your guys are phenomenal.
Thanks.
They showed up on time. They left on time. The cleaning every day was outstanding. I have 2 horrible dogs, and you guys were patient with them and kept it clean. And I was worried about the wood floors, and you did everything to make sure that they are still in good conditions.
Good. Yes. Yes. And we talked a little bit about that in the beginning. That was something that was very important to us, is to make sure that you have a good experience, and part of that experience is making sure everything's clean, making sure that we're in and out of here as fast as possible. So when we originally talked, I believe we talked about having a duration of like 4 to 6 weeks or so for the project, and we ended up pretty much at the 6-week mark. And
it was great.
And we added another bathroom, which was nice, right?
We had a twofer.
So we added another bathroom. How did you feel about us setting the correct expectations up front and following through with those expectations
Well, every contractor is going to give you an expectation, and then if they actually fulfill it, it's a shocker. And you guys have been on top of it from moment one, so I did not worry at all. And I have to say also, since you were doing a master bath and a master bedroom, this was a livable space for us during construction, and you still made it perfectly livable for us, which was lovely. And it was just, I cannot give you enough higher praise. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and so when you talk about living in the master, so like we had all these zipper systems, so that way you could get through, but
the
then
dust
keep
was
the dust
to a
down.
minimum, and we had, we had to go through that to access our
Closet.
and it was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So if there's somebody out there and they're wondering who to go with for a contractor, would you recommend Zenith?
Yes.
And why?
Because of the time frame, the quality, everything was exactly how it was planned out, and you executed it perfectly. There was never we messed up, or we're going to have to add another week. There was none of those kinds of things. You guys really saw 3 or 4 steps ahead and made sure that it was kept on track.
Good, I'm glad you saw that.
It was
we try our best.
No, it was really, really incredible. So,
good.
Best experience I've ever had.
Yes! Nice, let me see if I have any other questions for you. I was going to ask you, so your mom is from Sweden,
yes.
right? So and I imagine Sweden quality is like top notch with most
detail-oriented.
Very
yes.
detail-oriented. So what did your mom think throughout the process? We talked to her a little bit about it. What did your mom think throughout the process?
She was equally as impressed as I was, and she loved your crew, and she loved bantering back and forth with them, and if she noticed something, it was, oh yeah, we've already seen that, or we're going to get right on top of that or anything. So it was amazing. Yeah, she thoroughly was impressed. And she's hard to impress.
Yeah. I think Jim had fun with it. They tease each other a little bit. Nice.
Yeah, Jim is hilarious. I love Jim.
He's awesome to work with.
Yeah,
he's just really good at connecting with clients and making sure that we're satisfying what they need, and so.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
it was great. I'm super, super happy. And so is my husband.
So do you have any advice for anybody, like another family that wants to take on a larger renovation project, or master, or kitchen? Do you have any advice for them when they try to pick out who they want to work with?
Well, for one, the communication and the quick responsiveness that you are looking for you have anxiety about having things done to your house, people coming in, and you guys were punctual, respectful, clean, all the things that you want. And with the design aspect also, it takes the stress off of having to walk into a showroom and feel uncomfortable, ask who to talk to, all that took any of that kind of anxiety away.
Yeah, and that's one, I think we talked a little bit about that up front, but really trying to take as much of the guesswork out of it as possible, all the way from the construction, or the design, all the way to the construction.
Yeah, and even implementing new ideas. Like with this bathroom, we were talking about centering the walk-in, and I love the way that we kind of went back and forth with all the different drawings. It was really nice to maybe pick one thing out of one option, and we took 2 or 3 and made it into one.
You matched 2 or 3 different options to make it what you wanted it. So. Yeah,
and it's sometimes as a customer with contract work, you feel unable to ask a question because you just don't want to seem stupid, or but you really think about all the aspects. You're coming from every aspect when you bring something to the table, which is great for a customer to.
Yeah, and ultimately, we provide these designs, and Jen does too, and but ultimately it's not about what we want; it's about what you want. But we always want to make sure that you know every single option, or maybe not every option, but you know what you need to know to make the correct decision, because. You have to think of it in a holistic manner. You can't just think of it in one aspect, because we find that a lot of times people think of it in one aspect, and then when you don't actually talk it through how it affects the whole project in general, you can actually get a product that you don't like as much.
Right. No, I mean can't say enough about a good process.
Nice.
But I enjoyed the process because I like the planning phase. I like all that kind of stuff, and to have a collaboration rather than just you saying, okay, tell me what you want, and then you coming in here and doing it when you might see, maybe you shouldn't do it this way. Here's an option. That kind of stuff was really important to me, because there was some things in this bathroom we wouldn't have done without your guidance, which
Yeah.
actually made it a better bathroom.
Yeah, and it gives you peace of mind too, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, like, that's one thing, you know, like when you start to have all these unknowns as a customer,
Right.
you start to question things, you start to maybe lose trust. Like there's all these things, so it goes from the process to the communication to implementing it
Yeah.
correctly. You know, there's so many things that really help build that trust with the
Right.
client, because again, we're in your house for how many weeks?
Well, and
months?
yeah, and if the minute you feel like you're not heard, you don't have quality of what you're expecting, you instantly start going to the dollar sign.
Yeah.
And that never happened because it was amazing work. I felt heard and understood and guided and all those things. So, I mean, obviously construction jobs can be pricey, but
Yeah.
it comes with quality too. You can,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
pay
you
somebody
pay for it in some regards.
way
Yeah.
cheaper price and you're not going to have the quality or the workmanship that,
Yeah. And I think that, like what we also try to pride ourselves on is providing good design, but also working within the bounds of someone's budget too.
Absolutely.
You know, like there are certain things, yes, we could have done to save money, or we could have done to spend more money. Like
Yeah.
there's
Oh, yeah.
certainly either way, but really trying to work through that with customers is really important, especially if you have something in mind in the beginning.
Right.
And you know, like just the fact that, you know, you want your other bathroom wasn't quite as nice as this one, and it's like, well, we're here, we might as well just work with you on this to give you what you want, but give you it for a good price.
And it's
So
beautiful.
yeah, it looks great.
I didn't feel hindered by any of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have Jen with me when I was doing the picking up all the hardware and things, because I could go left field and think, oh, this is so pretty, but then the price tag, she's like, well, this is pretty, but it's not as good of a product. You know, you still have you're within your budget, so that was really nice to have somebody guide me through it.
So that way we're also trying to stay within budget, but we're also giving you what you want.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, if you just go to showrooms and you start picking stuff out and you don't know what your allowances
It
are,
can be really
you
overwhelming.
can be overwhelmed.
And then you get the price.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, what just happened? You know. So I think that, you know, in that planning phase, and in, you know, we can really figure out everything that's going into the project before we start. Then you have a better idea of what you're actually going to be spending, because we know if our above allowances or below allowances. So I think that's really critical too, because it's easy to make the changes in the design phase. It's not so easy to make the changes after you have something installed.
Yeah, it was very flexible, and it was just a great experience.
Okay.
Super happy.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else for you. Oh, is there anything else you like that?
No.
That's the last question.
Call Zenith.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's all I'm going to say is I'm going to end it with, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. I know Jim had a blast working with you and your mom.
Oh, I loved it.
We didn't talk to Steve as much, but Steve was great too throughout the process. But it's really fun to make our clients happy, and then it's really fun to just see how much you like the product we put in place and see you enjoy this experience, because ultimately, like, all that matters to us is making sure that you are happy at the end, and I believe
And
you are.
Yes, and you have a Zenith customer for life.
Yes. Well, thank you, Pernilla.
Yeah.